Hi Libra, this is Tisch Aitken. This is your monthly report for the month of May. This is a very busy month ahead, so let's dive in. To begin with, at the end of April, Pluto, which is the planet of death and regeneration, stationed retrograde on April 26th at 26 degrees and 48 minutes of the cardinal Earth sign of Capricorn. And for you, this occurred in the house of home and family and emotional foundation. Last year, when we had that historical Capricorn story of restructuring, this was the sector of the chart for you in the house of home and security. And we feel that station 5 days before and 5 days after. And this can bring major endings and turning points during the Pluto station, and it can be very intense. It can involve power struggles and major endings, and we bring that energy into the beginning of the month of May. And at early month of May, we've got 3 planets transiting in the fixed Earth sign of Taurus, and they're transiting in your house of regeneration and healing and purging whatever you need to purge in order to transcend. This is also the house of debt and joint resources. So it's important to really focus on your finances and what you need to release in order to transcend in the new age of Aquarius. On May 2nd, Mercury forms a beautiful trine to Pluto. And this is good for getting your needs met, for doing healing work, and good for focusing on your finances. On May 3rd, Mercury squares Jupiter early in the day, and this brings a preview of Mercury in the sign of Gemini, because later in the day, Mercury, which is the planet of communication and information, enters the mutable air sign of Gemini, and it'll be there until July 11th in your house of teaching and manifesting and travel. This is an excellent opportunity for taking workshops and webinars and learning, and a lot of focus on how you can promote yourself. Mercury will retrograde at the end of the month, so this is an opportune time for you to figure out how you can be more productive in your promotion and how you can learn more. If there are certain classes you want to take or teach, or if you want to get published, this is an excellent time period for focusing on all of those things. The Sun squares Saturn in the sky on that date, and that gives us a reality check of what we all need to do to move ahead. On May 6th, Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty, forms a beautiful trine to Pluto. And this is good for doing financial projects, partnering with others on financial endeavors, good for romantic energy, good for feeling happier in a difficult time. And on that date, the North Node of Fate forms a sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer. And Chiron is transiting in your house of partnerships and relationships, hopefully giving you an opportunity to heal your identity in relationships. On May 8th, Venus enters the sign of Gemini, where it will be until June 2nd. And Venus is transiting in your house of teaching and promotion, and now you've got Mercury and Venus there. So good time for doing manifesting work, for having fun, perhaps in some travel, or definitely learning and teaching projects. On the 11th of May, there is a new moon that takes place at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 21 degrees and 18 minutes of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. And the new moon takes place in your house of healing and empowerment and transformation. It is also the house of joint resources and investments. This could bring new financial opportunities, excellent for partnering with others, Also good for doing healing work and purging what you need to release. The moon is exalted in Taurus, lovely placement. The new moon forms a trine to Pluto, which is transiting in your house of security, giving empowerment to this new moon. And it also forms a helpful aspect to Neptune, which is very creative and imaginative energy. On the 12th of May, Mercury trines Saturn in the sky, and this is good for communication of all forms. Again, very good for you for getting things accomplished, good for focusing on your learning and manifesting. And Saturn's transiting in your house of romance and creativity until March 7th of 2021. So there is a big focus on your romantic life and your creative life, but really coming to that as well. On the 13th of May, Jupiter, which is the grand benefic and the luckiest planet, actually changes signs and briefly enters the sign of Pisces, where it will be until July 29th. When Saturn and Jupiter met up on the winter solstice, they met up at 0 degrees of Aquarius in your house of romance and creativity. Now Jupiter is entering the sign it rules by ancient astrology. It loves being in Pisces. It's very romantic and creative and compassionate. And for you, it's going to be expanding your workload, and it's also good for your health and wellness and your habits regarding your health regimen, and it'll be there until the end of July. So this will bring more work, but also good for bringing optimism in your routine. On May 17th, the Sun trines Pluto, and this is really good energy for getting things done and feeling empowered. On the 18th of May, Venus forms a sextile to Chiron, the wounded healer, and this is good for doing healing work around love, and could be positive opportunities with that. And on the following day, Venus trines Saturn, and this is excellent for romantic opportunities for you, also bringing more commitment and stability to your relationships and also to your learning. On the 20th of May, the Sun enters the mutable air sign of Gemini. Now you've got the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all transiting in your house of promotion and publicity, and having some fun, hopefully, and tapping into your optimism. On the 21st of May, the Sun squares Jupiter, and that could just be, pardon me, a lot going on and probably being very busy because Jupiter is expanding your workload. On the 22nd of May, Mercury squares Neptune, and that could bring some confusion, sometimes can bring deception, but again, to really manifest, you need to believe that it's possible, and Neptune rules the imagination, so it's an excellent day for doing manifesting work. On the 3rd of May, pardon me, the 23rd, Saturn stations retrograde at 13 degrees of Capricorn, Aquarius, 13 degrees, and this occurs in your house of love affairs and self-expression and the heart chakra. And Saturn will be retrograde until October, when it stations direct at 6 degrees of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. We feel that station 5 days before and 5 days after. And again, there could be some big shifts. Maybe there are restrictions around that time. And again, focusing on how you can commit to what makes you happy and what you love. On the 26th of May, there is a lunar eclipse that takes place at 7:14 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 5 degrees and 26 minutes of the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius. And this full moon eclipse takes place in your house of communication and information. And you can expect a lot of information pouring through then, because Mercury will be transiting in Gemini, bringing all sorts of stories and connections and communication. The eclipse falls in your third house of information. And eclipses are like wild cards. You know, a lot's going to happen, but you don't know how. And it's a heightened time of activity. The month of May will be an eclipse season. So it's going to be a lot happening. And then the second eclipse will be a solar eclipse on June 10th that occurs at 19 degrees of Gemini. And that's going to be occurring in your house of teaching and publicity and how you promote yourself. That will be a new moon eclipse. But on the 26th, it's like a full moon on steroids. A lot of emotions, not in a very emotional sign in Sagittarius, but we've got Saturn stationing retrograde a few days prior to that. We've got Jupiter in Pisces, which is lovely, but expands the emotions. And then on the 29th of May, Mercury stations retrograde at 24 degrees and 43 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. And we feel that a few days before as well. So that energy is prominent, and it's going to be a lot going on and a lot of communication. And on the 31st of May, Mars trines Neptune, and that can be very good for professional opportunities, good for feeling creative. It's going to be a very busy month. The focus for you for the majority of the year and for the whole Saturn and Aquarius story is really on finding your love and happiness and creativity. And now Jupiter is going to expand your workload, and it's an important time to promote yourself. So I wish you a lot of luck, and thank you.